Today we are discussing another important topic, that is counter current system. So this can be asked as a short essay question as well. So what do you mean by counter current system? There will be an inflow, there will be an outflow. So this inflow runs parallel to, counter to, and in close proximity to outflow. So there will be inflow pathway, outflow pathway, they both will be parallel to each other, but the movement of the fluid will be in the opposite direction, and this inflow and outflow will be very close to each other. So inflow runs parallel to, counter to, and in close proximity to outflow. So that is called as the counter current system. In kidney there are two counter current system. In nephron there are two counter current system. So which are the two counter currents? Counter current multiplier and the counter current exchanger. So counter current multiplier, which is the counter current multiplier? Loop of Henle is the counter current multiplier and vasa recta is the counter current exchanger. So why do we need counter current in nephron? So the main function of this counter current multiplier is to increase the osmolarity of the interstitium. So this vasa recta as well as loop of Henle, around this there is the interstitium. So these are surrounded by the interstitium. So this pink color shown here, all these are the interstitium. So this counter current multiplier is needed to increase the osmolarity of this interstitium. That means the osmolarity we can see here. In the upper part it is 300. Later it will increase, become 600, 900, 1200 like that. So the osmolarity is increasing downward. So this is called as the osmolarity gradient. So this osmolarity gradient is produced by this counter current multiplier. So what is the role of counter current exchanger? Counter current exchanger will maintain this osmolarity gradient. So osmolarity gradient means the interstitium, there will be an increase in the osmolarity from above downward, and that is called as the osmolarity gradient, and this is produced by the counter current multiplier, and this osmolarity gradient is maintained by counter current exchanger. So why is this interstitial osmolarity so important? Why this osmolarity gradient has to be maintained? It is mainly for the concentration of urine. So we know that large amount of water is getting filtered into the tubule, but later when the urine is coming out, it's very concentrated. So for concentration of urine, this osmolarity gradient is important. So where is this concentration of urine occurring? Is it occurring in the loop of Henle? No, it's occurring in the collecting duct. So concentration of urine occurs in the collecting duct. Because of the increased osmolarity in the interstitium, water will move out of the collecting duct into the interstitium, and that is under the influence of hormone ADH or the vasopressin. So the concentration of urine occurs in the collecting duct under the influence of ADH, and this concentration occurs because of increased osmolarity in the interstitium, and this increased osmolarity of interstitium is produced by counter current multiplier and is maintained by counter current exchanger. So for the concentration of urine, this counter current system is important, but it's not occurring in the counter currents. So it's not, the concentration of urine is not occurring in loop of Henle or vasa recta, but the concentration of urine occurs in the collecting duct. So you will see how the changes are occurring for the tubular fluid. So the tubular fluid that is in the PCT, that has been filtered from the glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule and is coming to the PCT. That tubular fluid is isoosmotic. That means the osmolarity is same as that of the plasma. And this tubular fluid is entering into the loop of Henle. In descending limb of loop of Henle, only water is transported. That means water will move out of the tubule. this descending limb is impermeable to solute. So that means water is moving out of the descending limb of loop of Henle to where? To the interstitium. So what will happen? Why this water is moving out? Because of the increased osmolarity in the interstitium, water is moving out of the tubule into the interstitium. So when water moves out of the tubule, what will happen? Inside the tubule, the osmolarity will increases gradually, and that osmolarity will become equal to that of the interstitium. So water moves out of the descending limb because of increased osmolarity in the interstitium, and when water move out of the tubule, the fluid inside the tubule, there will be increase in the osmolarity, and that will become equal to that of the interstitium. And the maximum osmolarity, so it will come in the bend of the loop of Henle. That is, it will come around 1200 to 1400. Okay, so concentrated fluid is there at the bend. Now what will happen in the ascending limb of loop of Henle? In the ascending limb, only solute will move out. That means it is impermeable to water. And this movement occurs mainly through sodium potassium 2 chloride channel. So the main solute that is moving out of the tubule is sodium chloride. And this is the main solute that is the reason for increase in the osmolarity in the interstitium. So sodium chloride move out of the tubule through sodium potassium 2 chloride channel, and because of the increased solute in the interstitial osmolarity will increase. And so what happens to the osmolarity inside the tubule? It will decrease. So in the descending limb of loop of Henle, water moves out, osmolarity increases and maximum at the bend. In the ascending limb, solute moves out, water will stay back in the tubule, so the osmolarity in the tubule decreases. So there is an increase in the osmolarity in the descending limb, decrease in the osmolarity in the ascending limb. So this effect is multiplied each time isoosmolar fluid reaches the loop of Henle. And so that is why it is called as a multiplier effect. Each time isoosmolar fluid reaches, this effect occurs again and again, and it will get multiplied. So that is why it is called as multiplier effect. Okay, now what happens to the fluid? So the hypoosmotic fluid that is formed in the ascending limb, it will enter into the DCT. In DCT, there is no change in the osmolarity at all, because whatever amount of solute is getting reabsorbed, the same amount of water is also getting reabsorbed. That means it will maintain the osmolarity of the fluid. So it's the hypoosmotic fluid entering into the DCT, so there won't be any change in the osmolarity in DCT. So what will happen in collecting duct? In collecting duct, water will move out of the collecting duct because of increased osmolarity of the interstitium, but that is under the influence of ADH. So only if ADH is there, only if increased osmolarity is there in the interstitium, then water will move out of the collecting duct into the interstitium. And if ADH is absent, the urine will become diluted. So water moves out of the collecting duct because of increased interstitial osmolarity, and thus concentration of urine occurs, but that is under the influence of ADH. Clear? So once again I will tell. So in the proximal tubule, there is no change in the osmolarity. In the descending limb, water moves out of the descending limb, so there will be increase in the osmolarity in the tubular fluid. Then again the fluid in the comes in the ascending limb. Here the solute will move out, so the osmolarity will decrease. That hypoosmotic fluid enters the distal tubule, no change in the osmolarity. In the collecting duct, because of increased osmolarity in the interstitium, water will move out and concentrated urine is produced. Now coming to the role of urea in the concentration of urine. So there is a role for urea as well. So urea concentration increases in the deeper portion of the collecting duct. This urea can diffuse into the interstitium, and this is having a role in increasing the interstitial osmolarity. So urea concentration increases in the collecting duct in the deeper portion, because more amount of water is moving out, concentration of urea increases in the deeper portion, and this urea will diffuse into the interstitium. And this when urea concentration increases in the interstitium, osmolarity of the interstitium will increase. And after that, some amount of urea will actually enters into the ascending limb of loop of Henle as well. So this will be in a circle. So after entering into the ascending limb of loop of Henle, this will come down through the collecting duct and will get concentrated, again enter into the interstitium. So urea is recycling between the interstitium and the tubule. So that will also help in the concentration of the urine, because urea will increase the interstitial osmolarity. So we discussed about the loop of Henle and how the osmolarity gradient is produced in the interstitium. Now what is the role of vasa recta? Why vasa recta is needed? We said already vasa recta is to maintain the interstitial osmolarity. So what is the role of vasa recta? So water and solute both are entering into the interstitium in equal amount. That is, water is entering from the descending limb, then solute is entering from the ascending limb. So how there is increase in the osmolarity even when water and solute both are entering into the interstitium? Why water is not diluting the interstitium and decreases the osmolarity? That is because of vasa recta. So water coming out of the tubule enters the ascending limb of the vasa recta and is removed from the interstitium, and this water enters the general circulation. So whatever water is reabsorbed into the interstitium, it will enter into the ascending limb of the vasa recta and is removed from the interstitium. So what happened to the solute? Solute is also entering into the vasa recta, but in the descending limb of the vasa recta. But this solute will move out of the ascending limb of the vasa recta and enter back into the interstitium, and so it is not taken into the general circulation. So solutes are retaining back in the interstitium, but water is removed from the interstitium. Clear? So water is entering into the ascending limb of vasa recta and is entering into general circulation. Solute is entering into the descending limb of vasa recta, but it will come out through the ascending limb of vasa recta back into the interstitium. So the solute is retaining back, whereas water is removed from the interstitium, and so it will increases the osmolarity of interstitium.